Do we get it perfect? Not necessarily, because sometimes you want matchup, you want the right flow for your players as well. So sometimes you're caught in between and you try to make a quick decision on the spot, and you're going to make mistakes at times.
Something has gone very wrong for the Canadiens, and it's turned their fast start into a dangerous slide. The team that opened the year strong is now sinking fast, and the reason is sitting in the goaltending. What looked like a strong start is breaking apart, and the pressure on the crease is rising by the day. This is the collapse no one expected this early. The Montreal Canadiens opened the season with 9 wins in their first 12 games. The strong start placed them near the top of the Atlantic Division and set expectations high across the city. The momentum shifted sharply. The Canadiens lost 4 straight games and went 0-3-1 in that stretch. They also dropped 6 of their last 7. The numbers showed a sudden and steep decline. Goaltending became the center of the problem. Early in the season, Sam Montembeault ranked near the bottom of the league in save percentage. His save percentage sat at .861, and his goals against average was 3.52. These numbers were among the lowest for any starting goaltender at that time. In one of the early losses, he allowed 5 goals in a 5-1 defeat to the Los Angeles Kings. That game added to the growing concern about his performance. The most serious moment came on November 20th, 2025. In a game against the Washington Capitals, Montembeault allowed 3 goals on 10 shots and was pulled early in the second period. The Canadiens went on to lose 8-4. Washington created clean scoring chances, and the shots that got through were not stopped. Advanced tracking broke down Montembeault's season further. He had allowed 22 goals against an expected 14.41 goals. The gap between expected goals and actual goals allowed showed how many shots he should have stopped but didn't. His contract, worth $9.45 million over 3 years, added pressure to the situation. Montreal looked to Jakub Dobes to steady the crease. Dobes started his season well with a 6-0 and 1 record, a 2.25 goals against average, and a .920 save percentage. His early numbers gave the Canadiens hope, but his performance dipped. Over a stretch of 4 games, he allowed 15 goals on 85 shots. His save percentage dropped, and the team's issues grew. Montreal now had 2 goalies struggling at the same time. Montembeault's rough stretch continued. In one block of games, he went 2-4 and won with a 3.80 goals against average and an 8.53 save percentage. These numbers showed that opponents were scoring often and early. In the loss to Washington, Montreal outshot the Capitals in the first period, but still trailed on the scoreboard. The game showed how critical the save percentage problem had become. Washington scored 6 goals on just 30 shots. Many of the goals came from open looks and high-danger chances. Inside the team, the backup situation shifted quickly. Dobes was told he needed to be ready for the biggest chance of his career. If the starter could not rise to the moment, the door was open for Dobes to take over the job. Before the season even began, there were warnings that goaltending could become a major issue for Montreal. Those warnings now match what has played out on the ice. The Canadiens have allowed early goals in many of their losses. Early goals forced them to play from behind, which changed their entire approach to each game. The team repeatedly found itself chasing instead of controlling. Montembeault's earlier loss to Los Angeles, combined with later games, showed a pattern of high goal night. These games widened the gap for Montreal and made comebacks hard to reach. Dobes faced new challenges as opponents adjusted their attacks. Teams began aiming low glove shots or moving the puck laterally before shooting. These tactics led to rebounds and goals during his tougher stretch. Opposing forwards often entered the zone with too much space. This led to clean looks and follow-up chances. In the Washington loss, these open lanes played a major role in the final score. Missed power plays made matters worse. Montreal had a game where it failed to score on 7 chances with the man advantage. The missed chances added more weight to the goaltending struggles. In another high-scoring game, Montreal scored 4 goals but still allowed 8. Even in games where the offense produced, the team could not stay competitive because of the goals allowed. Several opponents scored 4 or more goals against Montreal in recent weeks, including Washington, Los Angeles, and Dallas. These totals pointed to a deeper and ongoing problem. Rush plays also hurt the Canadiens. On several nights, opponents opponents entered the zone with speed and generated shots from close range. Montreal had trouble cutting off these plays before they reached the net. Montreal began rotating goaltenders more often, trying to find stability. The rotation showed the team was searching for answers instead of having one clear starter. In the Washington game, the Capitals scored 6 goals on 30 shots. This showed high efficiency for the opponent and low save percentage for Montreal. Lost faceoffs in the defensive zone created more trouble. Several of these losses led directly to shots and scoring chances. Across these games, one pattern continued. Montreal allowed goals at a pace that put them behind early, behind often, and behind late. The numbers remain clear. The goaltending struggles have become a major threat to the Canadian season. Something unexpected happened inside the Montreal Canadiens locker room this week. The players had just finished a hard game, but the real drama began after the final whistle. Cameras were still on, reporters were ready, and then everything changed in seconds. The date was November 7th, 2025, and what followed left everyone in the building silent.
Just not good enough from my side. I don't know. It's really hard. Yeah.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
The Canadiens had just finished a 6-2 victory when goalie Jakub Dobes surprised everyone by cutting short his media interview. According to journalist Elias Edmondson, Dobes had enough at one point and abruptly ended his post-game interviews himself. The statement was confirmed by multiple reporters who were inside the room. Moments after he left the podium, teammates moved toward him. One player said, "We didn't lose because of him." That single comment echoed through the room and showed the team's reaction in real time. Head coach Martin St. Louis later explained what happened. He told media, "We'll talk to Dobes. He's played really well for us." His calm tone followed a tense evening that showed the emotional side of a long season. The timing of the scene matched growing debate around how the Canadiens are using their young stars. Rookie Ivan Demidov and forward Zach Bolduc continue to post points, yet their minutes stay limited. In a game earlier that week, Demidov scored the tying goal against Ottawa with 2 minutes 23 seconds left in regulation after a pass from Lane Hudson. The Canadiens went on to win 4-3 in overtime. Despite that impact, official stats listed his ice time at just 10 minutes 27 seconds. The numbers added fuel to questions about player management. When asked, St. Louis said, "I can do a better job managing ice time. It's the first time I'm coaching a team with this much depth. I need to do a better job with certain players to learn how to get them rolling." According to the Hockey News, after 8 games, Demidov ranked 3rd on the team in points. Analysts wrote that such production should earn him a larger role. Inside the locker room, the night ended quietly. Players spoke softly, staff cleared equipment, and Dobes sat surrounded by teammates. The episode lasted only a few minutes, but revealed how the Canadiens' younger core is being tested, both on the ice and behind the scenes. Head coach Martin St. Louis addressed the issue again during his morning availability. He stated, "It happens. Players care. Dobes has been solid for us." The short reply was seen as a way to calm the situation while avoiding further speculation. Rookie Ivan Demidov continues to be at the center of that attention. In the same week as the Dobes moment, he earned his 8th point of the season, ranking 3rd on the team in scoring. He has recorded 4 goals and 4 assists in his first 8 games. Despite that production, he still averages fewer than 14 minutes of ice time per game. When asked about Demidov's minutes, St. Louis said, "I can do a better job managing ice time." He explained that balancing lines has been harder because the roster now includes multiple young forwards ready for top 6 roles. On-ice results show no drop in performance. The Canadiens entered the second week of November with a 7-4-1 record. In their comeback win over Ottawa, Demidov's tying goal led to an overtime victory sealed by captain Nick Suzuki. The team has also recalled defenseman Mark Del Gaizo from the AHL affiliate to strengthen depth ahead of a demanding road stretch. Media coverage of the Dobes incident quieted within 48 hours. Still, reporters described the locker room as more focused, less chatty. That shift reflects a club adapting quickly to pressure. The Canadiens' young stars continue to produce. Their coach continues to adjust, and one brief scene behind closed doors has reminded everyone just how much intensity builds inside a winning locker room. Canadiens just made a move that no one expected. Their goalie rotation is not just a strategy anymore. It's a full-on shakeup. A rookie just stepped over the veteran, and it's changing how the team plays. This isn't a small decision. This is the kind of move that turns heads and flips locker rooms. Here's exactly what just happened. The Canadiens started the season with two main goalies, Sam Montembeault and Jakub Dobes. Montembeault was the older one, the trusted name. He played for the Canadiens before. Most people thought he would play the biggest games this season. But something different happened. Dobes, who is younger and new to the NHL, started playing. And he played well, very well. In fact, his record was perfect. 6 wins, 0 losses. His goals against average was 1.97. His save percentage was .930. That means he was stopping almost every shot he faced. Coaches and fans started noticing fast. Montreal was winning games with Dobes in net. The team looked fast, sharp, and confident. But still, Coach Martin St. Louis said Montembeault was his number one. He said that on record. He told reporters Montembeault was still their lead goalie. But actions on the ice started to show something else. One night, Montembeault started against the Flyers. Then reports came out saying Dobes would start against the Devils. This rotation wasn't just a one-time switch. It started looking like a pattern. Sports Illustrated wrote that the Canadiens need to make the right choice in goal, and the right choice, they said, was Dobes. They pointed out how good his numbers are and how much confidence the team shows when he plays. The Canadiens' full team record was 10 wins, 3 losses, and 2 overtime losses. Out of those 10 wins, 6 came with Dobes in goal. That's a clear signal, and fans saw it too. Social media lit up with talks about the shift in net. Now, the Canadiens have a big question. Who is the real number one goalie? Montembeault may still have the coach's trust, but Dobes has the wins, the stats, and the pressure is building to keep him in net. The goalie change doesn't just affect one player, it affects the whole team. When a new goalie starts, the defense changes. Players have to learn how he moves, how he talks, and what kind of shots he handles best. The Canadiens now need to adjust quickly, because this change isn't small. It's a big moment for the season. Dobes has made it clear on the ice. He's calm, quick, and confident. He makes big saves look easy. Players in front of him feel that. When the goalie plays strong, the whole team plays better. That's what's been happening. Montembeault, on the other hand, is not playing badly. He's just not standing out the way Dobes is. Some fans say it's not fair, that Montembeault didn't lose his spot, Dobes just stole it. But in hockey, it's not always about being fair. It's about results. And right now, Dobes is delivering. This kind of goalie change doesn't happen often. Usually, teams stick with one starter. But Montreal is different this year. They have a young goalie who's winning games and a veteran who's trying to hold his ground. The coach now has a choice to make, and it's not easy. According to reports, the team plans to start Dobes again soon. That means the rotation may continue. 1 game for Montembeault, 1 for Dobes. But if Dobes keeps winning, the team may stop rotating. They may just ride the hot hand. Sports Illustrated said, "The Canadiens are pushing forward. That choice is giving more starts and trust to Jakub Dobes over Sam Montembeault." That statement shows how big this decision is. It's not just about one game. It's about who leads the team the rest of the season. The Canadiens are doing well. They're in a strong spot in the standings. But big games are coming, and playoff spots are not given. They're earned. The goalie they choose now could be the difference between winning or losing later. For now, Dobes has made his case. The numbers speak for themselves, and the Canadiens just did the unthinkable. They flipped the net and gave the job to the rookie.
That would be Cole Caulfield. So we saw on Tuesday, he scores the overtime winner. Here, he does one better. We'll get to the tying goal in just a second, but this overtime winner, this is the 10th OT winner of his career. This is just his 5th full season with the Montreal Canadiens, and he's already tied the franchise record in that department.
Cole Caulfield just made Montreal Canadiens history, something no other player has done in over 100 years. He broke a major record, led the league in goals for the month, and walked away with a trophy. But barely anyone talked about it. No headline takeover, no breaking news banner. Just another quiet page added to hockey history by one of the NHL's youngest stars.
big hit. Puck loose. Archibald desperately trying to get possession. With 6 seconds. Here they come again. Down low, 2-on-1. Ahead, score! Caulfield did it.
Cole Caulfield has broken a franchise record that stood through generations of Canadiens legends. He now holds the all-time record for most overtime goals in Montreal Canadiens history. Not Maurice Richard, not Guy Lafleur, not Jean Béliveau. Caulfield. He did it in fewer than 300 games. With his 11th overtime goal, Caulfield passed every Canadiens player in the club's century-plus existence. The Canadiens, one of the oldest and most storied teams in the NHL, have existed since 1909, and no player, not even in those dominant dynasty years, recorded as many sudden death winners in the regular season as Caulfield has already. What makes this more remarkable is the pace. Caulfield has scored 10 overtime goals in just 292 NHL games, a faster pace than most known overtime performers in league history. While the NHL only began officially tracking OT goal stats in the modern era, Caulfield's achievement remains a significant standout in a franchise that's had more than its share of Hall of Famers. This wasn't the only highlight of his recent run. While quietly breaking this century-spanning record, Caulfield also delivered one of the strongest starts to a season across the entire NHL. He led the Canadiens in goal, tied for the league lead in scoring at one point, and earned the Molson Cup for October, an award given to the team's top performer based on star selections and points. But it barely made noise outside the Habs fanbase. No league-wide celebration, no major network feature, just a quiet line in a game recap. Caulfield scores OT winner, and on to the next matchup. That silence stands in sharp contrast to what he's actually accomplishing. The Canadiens are climbing back into contention, and Caulfield is the central figure. He's not just scoring, he's deciding games, in regulation and in overtime. He's setting records in a sweater worn by the greatest legends in hockey history, and he's doing it without fanfare. Cole Caulfield's overtime goal record may be the biggest story nobody's talking about, but it's not the only thing he's doing right now that should matter. While leading the Canadiens in goal, Caulfield also helped power Montreal to one of their best starts in years. The team's 9-3-1 record through October wasn't fueled by flukes. It was built on pressure plays, early leads, and late finishes. Caulfield's fingerprints are all over it. He's not just a goal scorer anymore. He's a game closer. Yet despite all this, the spotlight remains elsewhere. Bigger names, bigger markets, or flashier moments steal attention. But Caulfield's results remain unmatched in impact, and that's exactly what makes the current silence so strange. 11 overtime goals, a team-leading season start, and a Player of the Month award, and somehow it's still under the radar. Even the Molson Cup announcement barely made headline. In any other Canadian market, a player tying for the NHL lead in goals while winning team MVP honors for the month would flood sports media. But Caulfield's milestone was mentioned, then quickly passed over. No feature packages, no long segments. Just a mention and move on. That silence doesn't change the numbers. There's also the consistency. He's producing against top defenses, not just soft matchups. He's scoring game winners. He's registering multi-point nights when his team needs a lift, and he's not relying on one skill set. He's evolving with every shift. His one-timer still draws defenders, but now his skating and positioning are becoming as lethal as his shot. The NHL's oldest franchise just had a record broken that stood longer than most players' entire careers. And the guy who did it, he barely said a word. Just one more goal, one more win, one more chapter in a story nobody expected and few are talking about. But the record is real. The numbers are official, and Cole Caulfield's name is now written where no one else's ever was.
Pierre LeBrun and Darren Dreger, usually guys it takes a month or two before we get into the trade rumors of good players on struggling teams coveted by other teams, but we're well underway already with Nazem Kadri and the Calgary Flames.
Something big is happening between Montreal and Calgary. As the Flames spiral down the standings, a shocking name has quietly shaken the trade market. Behind the scenes, whispers of a potential move to the Canadiens are growing louder. But what's really happening right now has insiders stunned, because Montreal may be closer to landing a star center than anyone expected.
First thing I'd tell you is the Habs, O-Dog, my understanding is, listen, they've gone through the entire league in their preparations internally and have a list of what centers could potentially pop up between now and next season, and obviously ahead of the March 6th trade deadline this year. You name a name, and it's come up internally with the Montreal Canadiens. And yes, Nazem Kadri is one of those names. I think the Habs would have interest in him.
Nazem Kadri's name has become one of the most active in NHL trade circle. The Calgary Flames sit at 2-8 and 1 through 11 games, their worst start in years. Kadri leads the team with 8 points in